Welcome to Supplier Spot Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Join us as we chat with suppliers, park owners, and staff, uncovering insights, strategies, and stories that will elevate your outdoor experience. Get ready for inspiration and innovation in every episode.
Hey there, everybody. Bobby Sorton back again with Supplier Spot Spotlight. We're now the Tuesday right before Thanksgiving. It's hard to believe this is already November. I'm here with the one and the only, which I think almost every person in this industry knows this person, Ben Quiggle with Woodalls. And you shake your head no, but all we got to do is just call you by Ben, and everybody knows who Ben is. So, Ben, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on here with me with Supplier Spot Spotlight.
Yeah, this is exciting. And,
Yeah,
I don't know how old you are, Bobby, but as you get older, the time flies by. So
yeah.
2024 has just flown by. So.
I know, I agree. It's hard to believe that it's almost been a year since I was laid off from the previous software company I used to work for. And, it's already been 11 months since I had the idea of Supplier Spot. And now here I am, 8 months since I launched Supplier Spot. It's just crazy how time's flying. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, Ben. So again, I appreciate it. And I'm really excited about this because I follow pretty much a lot of what you do out there on, your LinkedIn and Woodalls. And you're usually the one on that side of the screen interviewing people like me in this industry. So I'm very excited that I get to actually interview you. So this is kind of a flip on things. So I'm excited for it.
You can drill me with all the hard questions. So.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that at all. As you know, this is casual conversation. So, but first of all, let's get started. So, I approached you, I think, probably a couple months back, was talking a little bit about Supplier Spot with you. And I was getting your thoughts and ideas as I was moving forward with it and trying to enhance it to the best of my ability for this entire industry to make it a one-stop spot. So what are your thoughts about a Supplier Spot, Ben? Let me know what you think.
Yeah. Well, I think the industry's been looking for ways to connect people with suppliers. And I think that's evident in the number of new shows that we see popping out, like Campground Owners Expo, I know was kind of born out of that interest of like offering smaller campgrounds, parks, Midwest parks, the opportunity to get together and do education and then peruse the suppliers. And I think, with Diana Kelly, her new summit that they're putting together, which has a huge name and I'm not going to remember it all, but the summit out in Reno, she's putting together in April next year. And then I just think some of the other stuff we've seen with the state association shows, like with Texas and Florida, where they're growing, and then the NCA out in the East. So I think that's, been an important aspect of the industry. I think Supplier Spot, fills that. The other aspect, I think you mentioned before we even came on the show, was the hiring. You had mentioned like work campers, maybe adding something like that to Supplier Spot, or, even just the hiring aspect is something that owners really struggle with. I know if you go to conferences, people are all the time asking questions about, well, how do you hire people? Where do you find people? That kind of stuff. And so, it's a big undertaking, but envisioning like a big hiring board. And I think Ojai attempted it like a year or two ago, where you have the opportunity to find employees. I know it's like a national industry. So, if you're a California park trying to draw people to California might be a little difficult, but maybe there's potential there, especially on the work camper side, which Work Campers News already does to some degree. So,
which is exactly right. You mentioned it right there where you said, oh yeah, that's a pretty good idea. As I told you before we came on camera, I got the Work Campers idea from an actual park owner I was talking to at one of the shows. So you can see I've been promoting it just a little bit, just to kind of get a feel for it. And I already have 2 people on here right now that posted themselves on there. There's just Virginia and Tyler. And then even Work Campers jumped on as well. So I've talked to them a few times, Work Campers News. So yeah, it's a great platform, just kind of, like you said, really get it out there in front of the RV park owners. And, it's kind of almost like a digital resume for these work campers. So again, it's just, I continue to build the site based on the needs of what people are requesting. So, I'm so glad that you mentioned a few things already that I'm excited about too. Like you said, Diana's show out there in California. I'm with you too. The name is long, but CSSW, I can remember that at least. But what's really cool about...
You're a sponsor, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of funny how the story came about is I talked to Diana like 2 years ago at the glamping show, and because when I was with that previous software company, I actually went out to their California show, and we
Yeah,
did that, and the turnout wasn't the greatest, but I was excited to be a part of the California event. So she mentioned about doing like more of a Western states type
yeah,
show, and I said, "Hey, I'd be happy to help you plan it." I think you know, Ben, that I have a DJ business here in Colorado Springs, and I was huge in the wedding industry for a long time. Me and a colleague actually created the Southern Colorado Wedding Association, which is similar to all these other state associations, and
yeah,
we actually started doing our own bridal shows for vendors that were doing stuff for weddings. So I told her, I was like, I'd be happy to help you. So for those, since you mentioned it though, as you notice when you go to, and I think you use this, you told me, if you go to conferences right up here at the top of supplierspot.com, I got all these upcoming conferences that people have been telling me about. But the one you were mentioning, the CSSW, is down here on April. People can actually click on it, get more information, add it to their calendar. So, that's my goal with Supplier Spot, is just really helping this industry get information fast, quickly, and all in one spot.
yeah. And that's the Campground Solutions Summit West. So
Yes.
CSSW. They never
Yes.
make it easy for me. I always
Of
get
course.
lost in the abbreviations. And it's from
Yeah, and there's a
Industry
lot of
Solutions.
S's in those
Yeah,
four words too.
Campground
So
Solutions
it's
Summit
like,
West. We could
yeah,
try seeing if we can say that 10 times fast later.
exactly.
So,
Yeah. Well, cool. I appreciate that feedback, Ben. Like I said, I really look at a person like you who's been in this industry for a while. I really respect everything you do out there. I love watching your videos, like just from the glamping show when I saw you here in Colorado, and watching those interviews you do with all the guys out there with their products and stuff. I think that's great, especially for campground owners and park staff
yeah,
to actually watch these videos and get information where they can actually not go to all these shows out there that you and I go to, because some of them just can't make it to these shows. So I think it's great that you do things like that. So
yeah. We try to connect people with things just like what you do. We're trying to connect people with the suppliers and the news and the trends and things. I think that's one of the interesting things about going to these conferences, and like this Campgrounds of America conference I just got back from,
mhm.
reporting on what Toby O'Rourke said, because she's such a voice for the industry too.
Yeah.
And with 500 plus parks, if they're noticing things, then more than likely it's impacting the industry as a whole. So
Yep.
yeah,
I agree. And I told you off camera too, I've sent her a few messages on LinkedIn to see if maybe she could jump on Supplier Spot and just give a little information for those who just want to, but we'll see what happens. I know she's very busy. I know you got her coming on here. I think anyways, that's kind of the plan is, but I know she's very busy, but I do agree with you. I listen to all of her speeches, or whatever you want to call them, her keynote speaking. And,
yeah,
she's really a good advocate for this industry as well.
yeah. And I mean, if you ever get the chance to hear her talk, anybody, it's always great. She always has some. You always come away with some things that you didn't even really think about. And her grasp on the hotel industry is really good. I know she's been going to hotel conferences, so just her ability to understand what's impacting them as well and how that will impact us is very interesting. So
I agree. I think it's funny. I get a kick out of this every time I read it. So for those of you who are seeing the screen right now, if you want to check out Ben's landing page with Woodalls, you just go right up to the top here and click search listings. Just type in Woodalls, which is a cool little landing page. I'm glad you did some of these pages from your highlights and stuff. I love these pictures here. And
yeah,
go down here, and it says Ben Quiggle's the author with his wife, 4 kids, 3 goats, and too many chickens. It's so funny.
and yeah,
Uh,
too many. Yeah, we actually
yeah,
got like 10 roosters, and
nice.
anybody's ever raised chickens knows that roosters can get mean, and we're gonna have to
Yep.
get rid of some of them because
And
they can
early
bite you.
too. They wake up very, very
Yeah,
early.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it's funny. Every time I talk to you, I learn something more about you. Like when you were at Ojai there, and you came over and watched the little trivia session that I did to show a few park owners who are thinking about bringing trivia back to their parks. And your screen name, I got to think what it was like. What was it again? I already forgot.
Quiggalicious, and I'm on YouTube at Quiggalicious. There's nothing on the
Quiggalicious.
channel, but I'm a big goat lover, and I created a goat symbol. My son and I actually have a Twitch, and we had started streaming gaming. I play Fortnite, so we had started streaming on Twitch, and the idea was to bring it over to YouTube. We just took a break, so we will get it on YouTube, but we haven't done it yet. So
All right.
yeah,
So
but I
it's
will channel
Quiggle. I'm bringing it up. I got to see this. This is great stuff. So
Quiggalicious. Yep,
oh, it's very loud. Hold on, let me turn up the volume
yep,
here. So it looks like this is your channel, huh?
yeah. I don't.
Quiggalicious episode 9. So, oh, okay. I see you're doing some Fortnite stuff here, or
Yeah,
yeah, Fortnite.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that Twitch? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like you're
So
doing like
we
episode
have
9.
goat.
So,
I'm a big goat
oh
fan. If
yeah.
you
Oh,
go
is it? I guess it's not showing on my screen anymore here.
if you go to YouTube, you can also see my goat logo that I have with the
Oh yeah,
goat. So yep.
cool. All right,
Yep.
let me
So,
stop sharing
but
this.
that's what I do. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's
You
like I
can.
said, it's always funny. I always learn something new about you. So,
Yeah.
um, great. So yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Woodalls here. Like I said, I jumped right into supplier spot. I went up here and typed in Woodalls. You come right up here, and what's great, and this is what I love about doing this site, and me being the only person doing this. I don't have a team of people. I'm a sole person doing this. That anytime somebody wants a new category added, because in your case, you wanted, I think it was called like newspaper, or news, industry news, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, sure, I'll create whatever categories you want that will really help reflect. So, if you go to the categories section on the page and you type in, services or news or something like that, like I can just type in news up here and search, and it's going to bring everything up that has news in it. So, like right here, Woodall News or Work Camper, then of course it comes up with a few other things. So, I always want to create this website to the benefit of the suppliers, the associations, park owners, all that type of stuff. So, let's talk about Woodalls.
Yeah.
How did you come about into this industry, Ben? And how did Woodalls come about? And where does the name come from? And just give us a bunch of history.
Well, the name Woodalls is from the 1930s. I think I've explained that maybe to you before, but it comes from the 1930s. Original publishing house for a lot of old RV and campground books, like the first guides and actual books. We actually used to have some of the original books in the
Okay.
office. I don't know where those are. We moved, but and then it kind of morphed into a directory, which a lot of people are familiar with the Woodalls directory, especially if they've been in the industry for a few decades, or if they're above 50 years old. Generally they remember the Woodalls directory. So it used to be kind of like the Good Sam directory. So it went through a lot of ownership. I'm not exactly for sure how the ownership structure all went, but eventually Camping World bought Woodalls and operated the magazine and the directory and the website and everything. And then my publisher, so we're owned by G&G Media. The publisher who founded G&G Media used to work at Camping World, and Camping World was going to eliminate the magazine along with RV Business. So he bought the two magazines. The RV Business does the RV industry, and then Woodalls obviously focuses on the campground industry. So it's basically just the magazines now. And sorry, my phone is like going off.
No worries.
It's like
These are
vibrating.
casual.
It's like distracting me. So it's basically just the Woodalls magazine now, and that started around 2011 is when it basically just became the magazine, and our old owner bought it. Now he retired a few years ago. Now we're owned by Rick Kessler and Scott Strapia, which are pretty well known, two guys who are pretty well known in the RV industry. They've covered the RV industry for a long time, and Scott founded Statistical Surveys, which does a lot of the retail data for the RV industry. And so we're just a really small media group. We have 6 to 7 employees. We have the two magazines, and I pretty much just focus on Woodalls. Everybody else is pretty much focused on RV business. And I've been doing this for a little over 7 years. I kind of got into it because I had met the former publisher of the magazine at some RV industry events when I was working in the newspaper industry in Indiana. And then he had a spot open up for this job. And I've just been doing it. Slowly over the years. I think when I first started, it's about building up the connections within the industry. So just traveling to different shows and really trying to focus on building up content and to where we're at today. We get a lot of stuff that's sent to us. We look through the internet for stories. Just you know, we build a lot of connections, so we get a lot of great columns from people like Mark Kep and Aaron and Dan Time, who own a campground in California, and then like Paul Bosley, who does finance stuff, Christine
Mhm.
Taylor, who's a well-known lawyer in the industry, and just building up stuff like that to where where we can be a true source of information for the industry. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And right there, you mentioned Mark Kep, and there he is right there on your picture. And I'm kind of excited about it too, because I had Mark Kep on as a spotlight earlier this year. So Mark Kep and I get along great. I met him for the first time a couple years ago, again, working
yeah,
for the previous software company. But he's also doing a little bit of, I think, like freelance stuff for you. Is that right? Is he writing some articles
he's
for
a
you guys?
columnist.
He
So
is a
we
columnist. Okay.
brought him on as a columnist over the summer. We
Okay.
had two columnists, Peter Pelland and Elaine Schmarter, who had been writing for the magazine for probably over a decade or more. And I mean, I love Peter and Elaine, but we felt like it was kind of time to change things. Elaine had, moved out of the country. She lives in Portugal now, I
Okay.
believe. And then Peter Pelland, a few years ago, during COVID, things had kind of slowed down maybe a little bit for him, and then he stuck around and kept writing. And of course, he owns Pelland Advertising, which is a website development and map company. And we loved having him on, but we just felt like it was time for a change. We had brought Aaron and Dan Time on as campground owners, and they've been great writing a monthly column for us, and that's been really well received for the last couple of years. And then I approached Mark earlier this year about, do you have time? He's a busy guy. I was like,
Hmm.
do you have time to write a column? And he's like, sure. And I was like, well, we'll, pay you a little bit. And so
That's
that
worked out
kind of
nice.
helped a little bit. So yeah. So
Yeah, and he's so well known in the industry too, as you know, of course. He really has his hands in everything. It's great though. I'm actually brought up the digital version, but I was so excited to show you. I got my own hand copy, and it's kind of funny. I've always been a digital guy, but it is really nice to like actually get the newspaper smell. It's like I remember the smell. This brings back so many memories of like my grandparents' house. When the newspapers were big back then in
yeah.
early '80s, which now I'm starting to date myself a little bit here, but you got that newspaper smell and actually a physical copy. And I literally, when I got this and I brought it up here to my office, I didn't even turn on my computer. I just kind of looked through all the pages and saw all the columns and, seeing all the people that I've seen out at shows, like you got to call it, or a cameo or whatever you want to call it here with Tyler Watts, and him and I, get along great. Tyler with Carolina Association RV Parks, and he owns, what is it? Uh,
Oh, that's Broad River.
River. Broad River, yeah, Broad River Campground. I was actually out there for the Carvick Fall Crawl, and just a great guy to have in the industry as well. But yeah, it's really cool for and I wonder if I'm dating myself now to say it's nice to pull up a piece of physical something in your hands and like just sit here. And like I said, I have a cup of coffee with me, and I'm actually reading the newspaper, which I always thought was kind of lame for watching my grandparents read the newspaper. Now here I am doing it myself. But so I really like it. So I was excited to show, hey, I get mine. I get mine every month. So
Yeah,
excited for it.
I think people really connect with it, even the younger audience. I think people have told us when I go to conferences that they love the print edition. They don't want it to go away. We
Yeah.
obviously have the digital versions on our website, but
Mhm.
I don't think we get rid of the magazine. We have thought about like moving from like from the newspaper style to like more of a formal magazine style, but we've decided, against that. One, it's a lot of work, and if you work in the print industry, you'll understand what
Yeah.
the work would be on that, just to add
Yeah,
stuff.
like I said, I like the
And then,
smell. I mean,
yeah,
it brings back so many memories about just having that smell of a newspaper. Even my wife, like the first episode or the first edition I got, she's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "That's the Woodalls newspaper. What do you mean? This is an icon in the industry." So
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, she should be
uh,
reading it.
yeah.
But
And then also too, which is really cool. I got to throw this out there. The great thing I love about it too is we when we built our house, we had to cut down a bunch of trees around our property. So instead of just like taking the trees out of here, we decided to not get a gas fireplace and actually put in a wood burning fireplace. So I was real excited for that. So we chopped up all of our wood and split it and everything. So now when I'm done reading the newspaper, I actually got newspaper to help start the fire in my fireplace. So it's kind of like resourceful. So don't go
yeah,
away from the newspaper. So
so that you can start your fires. Yeah,
exactly.
most people are, I've worked here for over 7 years. I've never received a negative thing about the magazine until literally this week. Somebody
Really?
sent me an email saying they wanted to unsubscribe because they sold their park over a year ago, which we get sometimes. People
Yeah.
will email me and be like, we need to unsubscribe because we sold our park. Well,
Mhm.
and this guy at the end of his sentence was like, never wanted nor needed the magazine, and it's a huge waste of paper, money, and space.
Yeah.
Please
Ugh.
stop. So
No,
I guess
those are
he must not be starting too many fires.
no,
So
I guess not. You know,
because
those are always the naysayers out there, Ben. We know they're out there no matter what. So
the
don't listen to those guys. Let them just kind of move on. I know you're not listening to them, but still, it's like let that guy just move on and do his own thing now, especially since he sold his park. So, no, I love it. I don't know, and I'm not just saying this because you're on with me right now. I really do enjoy getting this and look and reading through it. I know I can do a digital version, but I've got 3 monitors sitting in front of me right now. The last thing I really want to do is look at something like this digitally when I can just sit here and look at it. So,
yeah,
yeah, I say don't get
but
rid of it. I mean, look, I even get the plug out there. I'm even getting the glamping magazines, and I love getting these and looking
yeah,
through them and flipping through them. And so, even though this is a magazine, I personally think Woodalls does great with this type rather than this type, and that's just my opinion. So, I don't know how
yeah.
far that opinion will
Do
go.
you actually get a printed version of the glamping? I
But no,
didn't
I
know.
got this one from the glamping show. It wasn't
Oh,
mailed to me.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
might
I
be.
just
Yeah,
no, no, they don't mail it to me. No, but I picked it up at the glamping show because I want to bring it back with me and flip through it. Of course, I can go to their website and view
yeah,
stuff, but I really enjoy like looking through this. Like I said, there's times I won't even turn on my computer. I'll sit down and go through one of these two, just so I can. Like I said, I got stuff all over my desk here in front of me that I can pull out. But no,
yeah.
so that's what I like. I don't. I'm just one person in this industry.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about being in this industry for so long was when I first started. Obviously, I write my editorial, it's in the front of the magazine. And I don't know how many people even pay attention to that thing. They
No, no,
probably
that's it.
just like scroll past it. But it's been great. The longer you're in the industry, the more of an opinion you begin to have about different things.
Yeah.
So, like, I think this month's editorial was tackling the Ojai stuff where they're you know, about the Ojai State Association kind of separation that's been going on, where they're not doing
Yeah.
direct, they're doing, uh, well, they
Okay.
did
I'm gonna
state
do it here
association
instead of
membership, and
digitally.
now they're doing direct membership. But so, like,
Hey, right there, your
just,
picture and everything.
yeah,
Look at that.
just that,
That's you right there. I'm gonna bring this to COE next week and have you autograph this page right here for me. Then this one I won't burn.
but that's
So,
$20.
all right, perfect, done.
It's gone up inflation. But I think it's been great, just being able to have more of a voice in the
Yeah,
industry and being able to see the trends and things. So, and that's what we really work on with the magazine. And there is a way to turn off the page turning noise if you go
I
down
like
the
it.
little scroll thing. Oh,
I
you
don't know.
do?
Oh yeah, I know I
Yeah.
can turn it off. No, I like that. It's making me feel like I'm turning the page, but that's just me.
And the
But it's good to know
magazine.
that for people who don't like that noise, and plus if you have your speakers on. But I like the sound of the noise. I know it's right down here somewhere, right? Like 3 dots.
I think one of the important things to mention is
Right
that
here.
we take news from anybody. So, like, if you're a park owner and you have a really great addition that you're working on, or expansion, or you just have a community event or anything, we'll take that news. If you're a vendor, and you have a new product you want to highlight, or something new that you're doing, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be something new. It can just be something that you've been working on for a while that maybe we haven't wrote about. We're always willing to have that kind of news in the magazine. It takes a lot of content, not just for the magazine, but for the digital stuff that we do now, because we're
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, we have our website, YouTube. We've
Mhm.
just launched Instagram, where we've been posting more short form videos. We have our Facebook page, and then, of course, the website that we post news on every day. And just, we have to have tons of stuff to push through those channels. So it's
Yeah.
always great to connect with people about any of the news that they might have. So don't be
Yeah.
shy about reaching out. So
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit I wasn't shy whatsoever when I was working for that previous company. I was constantly reaching out to you. Then when I started Supplier Spot, I was like, "Hey, help me out here. Can you get this out to people?" And no, so you've always been very receptive and responsive to everything that I've sent over to you. So, like I said, I was surprised to actually get you on this because I know how busy you are. But I knew if I just kept being persistent, being that squeaky wheel, that pretty soon you'd throw some oil at me. So that's why we're sitting here today talking. So, but
yeah,
no, I love it.
absolutely.
I mean, you do a lot of good stuff in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, we do lots of different things. Like, we did the scammer. I think in this last issue we had something on the Northeast parks that we're dealing with
Mhm.
scammers. So
Yep.
we try not to get too down in the weeds with certain things, but the scammer thing was pretty interesting. They have that new company, deadcampers.com, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, you were telling me about that in Ojai. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Mexico, we even have Jeff Ryder interviewed some people we connected with at the glamping show that were from Mexico, and we did
Mhm.
a feature on Mexico and glamping industry down there, which was kind of interesting because I think it just kind of shows the different forms of glamping and maybe will offer some ideas for park owners up here. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we're open to
Yeah,
a lot.
it's great. Like I said, just flipping through these pages as you're talking, suppliers can see that you have a variety of articles and information and of course a lot of advertising too, which I know helps with the printing of the magazine and your website and of course staff salary and things like that. So it's important. Like I told you, I'm willing to help sponsor part of this. And we had a little discussion about that we'll talk about offline, but I'm always about trying to help the industry where I can and do what I can. So and it's great to pull up this magazine and like look at all these pictures of people that I've talked to physically and personally out there at these shows. Like looking here at Allie, I met her finally for the first time at Ojai, and I'm actually a big. I'm doing something with Pacoa, so I see Jason up here. I don't know. Are you going to Pacoa this year?
No,
Oh,
no.
bummer. Oh, it's a bummer. We're actually going to do something fun. They got this Three Rivers cruise that we're doing, and I actually get to host trivia that night on the cruise ship. So I'm looking forward to having some fun with that. So
Is it indoors? Because doesn't it get cold
yeah.
that time? Is it sun and out?
Yeah, it's an indoor river cruise boat. Yeah, it is. But it's awesome. It's going to be during dinner, so people at their tables can play as a team, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Jason and all his staff have been awesome to work with. They've been so, really up to helping me out with things. Plus, and like I said, I'll be at COE as well. I'll actually have a booth there at COE where I can help promote, or where I can actually promote Supplier Spot to park owners who are coming by. Just hand them a brochure saying, "Hey, I built this site to try to make it easy for you guys to find all of us in one place, plus more of stuff in the industry."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that sound. Yeah. So anything else you wanted to go over? Anything else you think park owners or suppliers or associations or anybody else should know about Woodalls? Anything else?
I mean, I don't think so. Just where people can connect with us. I mean, we're at woodallscm.com. We have a LinkedIn page at woodallscm. We do stuff on YouTube at Woodall. It's all at Woodalls pretty much. And
Yeah.
so you can look us all up. And then we also, like I mentioned, we do the Instagram, which has been kind of interesting. We really haven't been promoting it too much, but we have an Instagram page that we have started putting some of our short form videos on, and then of course we're on Facebook. The short form videos have been doing great, so I don't know, if you're a park and you've ever wondered about doing short form stuff, like 10, 15 seconds, or less than a minute at least. That stuff's been doing really great for us on YouTube and Instagram. So
That's awesome.
just
Yeah, so
yeah,
like Ben said, everybody, you can go to Woodalls CM, which stands for Campground Magazine, Woodalls CM, and Woodalls is plural, so make sure you have that S in there, woodallscm.com. Or again, a real easy location, if you go to suppliers, which has an S in it, spot.com, so there's really two S's in the middle of that, suppliers, spot.com. Type in Woodalls or news, and you can see all of his information right here. One of the pages here, he's got the call now, phone number, email. You can send him a direct message to the site. You go right to the website by clicking here. He's got all of his social media network accounts on here. So real simple spot for you guys to go and find everything that he's talking about right here. So
yeah,
yeah,
and it's all free. So you can
yeah,
go on the website, subscribe. You can receive the magazine like what Bobby has for free.
yep,
You
yep.
can get our
I
daily
highly
news
recommend it.
for free. So
Yeah, and just for the
yeah,
suppliers to know out there too, this is actually one of the inserts that you guys put inside of it. This is one promoting the Rivers and Rockies, the new outdoor lodging conference or coalition. So yeah, this was actually inside the Woodalls magazine. So suppliers, as you can see, this is marketing and advertising. If you wanted to pay to have a insert in this magazine, you just contact Dan, say, hey, I want to sponsor something, or I want an insert. I want to be a part of this because I know it's going to go to these households or these parks and campgrounds, and people are going to open it up and see that stuff. So
yeah, and that's those inserts are regionally based too. So like if you
yeah,
are a sponsor, a vendor, and you only want to do like do something in Texas, then only the Texas magazines will get the insert. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think you're
Cool.
special, Bobby. I don't think the people here in Michigan got that insert. So there
Oh,
you go.
really? Yeah. Well, I'm in Colorado, so this
Yeah,
is
there you
my
go.
area, so that's probably why I got it. So that's awesome. So yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Again, thanks, Ben, for being on here. I
Yeah.
mean, see how fast this time goes. It's right at 30 minutes. It's just been
Oh
such
yeah,
a
I
great
know.
conversation. So
Yeah, I know how fast it can go. So
yeah.
yeah, it
Well,
goes
great.
quick.
Again, thanks for being on. I know you're busy. I'm looking forward to seeing you at COE. When are you flying in to COE?
On Tuesday,
Oh,
December 3rd,
third.
right?
That's
Yeah.
my birthday.
And then I leave
So
on Friday. I
yep.
leave right after my session on Friday. They got me doing a session on Friday morning. It's at like 9 o'clock, and my flight boards at like or leaves at like 11:30. So it's
From
gonna be really tight. Springfield,
wow, yeah, that's gonna be very tight. Yeah,
very
yeah. Because
tight.
don't you? Are you going? Where are you flying out of?
Springfield. Yeah.
Oh man, that's like an hour away. Yeah,
Yeah,
jeez.
it's gonna be. Well, I think it starts boarding at 11:30. I don't know. I have to
You'll be
see,
fine.
but
You'll make
we'll
it.
be fine. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll make it. Maybe
that's the
not.
one thing about COE I get excited about is every year it falls on my birthday. So I'm either flying there on my birthday or I'm there on my birthday. So I actually fly in on my birthday and we're gonna go hang out with a few people. So hopefully I'll get to see you that night. Um, then I go from there straight over to Pennsylvania and then back home for the year. So I'm
Yeah,
excited for it. So
yeah. COE
cool.
is a great show. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it is. So great. All right, Ben. Well, thanks again for being on here. I really appreciate taking the time. Again, everybody, check it out. Woodalls. Go out there and see what Ben has to, what he can do for you.
all right. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Ben. Talk to everybody later. Bye.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to Supplier Spot Spotlight. Keep shining bright in the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Stay tuned for more illuminating conversations with industry experts. Until next time, enjoy the great outdoors.